This thing does not want me to use the landscape feature. I saw that yesterday. So we're just gonna settle for this. Good morning. It is Friday, 6 a.m. and ready to round this week out with a nice, solid day. Continuing to just move forward into the root chakra, the Muladhara Chakra, laying a good foundation for a solid journey of spiritual growth and development on purpose. You know, I lived a whole life of, de facto spirituality, just, going to church and, things like that. And just, I was like a Sunday Catholic. 30, that didn't last actually until my 30s. But it wasn't enough. It did not give me the fulfillment, the meaning. It did not answer that question as to like what the purpose of it all was, what the purpose of this life is, why. And for many that may not be a question that burns. Man, that burns in my spirit. It burns like, why? Why am I doing all of these things? What is the point? And so I set off on this journey many, many years ago, never even having heard of meditation in this sense, in this depth, of chakras, of kundalini, of spiritual awakening, of questioning, my own spiritual and religious beliefs, of questioning just so much of what I had been taught over the course of my life. My root chakra is built on a combination of things, including but not limited to all I was taught by way of my family and my culture and my environment. I was taught it culturally, I was taught things socially, I was taught things governmentally, and each of those individual entities had their own agenda. Agenda is not a bad thing, it's just a goal. Each of them had their own agenda, and I was taught what each of those individual entities wanted me to know based on the end that they desired. And so all of that, coupled with my life experience, my own personal experiences, set the stage, set the tone for what my root chakra became. Now, I'm a child, when I'm being taught all of these things, and I could not help what was being taught to me. And in many cases, I would accept what was being taught to me blindly, only because I trusted these individual entities as they, allowed me to live, to survive, to thrive. I was dependent upon my family for just living. I could not feed myself. I could not earn money to support myself. I could not do anything. So the group that provided those things for me, I trusted them implicitly, and they taught me certain things. And so blindly, I was like, yes, definitely. If you say it because you have allowed me to live, I took it, and without question. But as I got older, I had to begin to question. Well, where did they get it from? And whoever they got it from, where did they get it from? Like, where are these things coming from that are ultimately trickling down to me? And so I began to question, the origin of all of this stuff, and not just in family, church, social, cultural, like all these things that I have been taught have come from somewhere, and here they are, and now they have just kind of culminated into me now. So I really couldn't help what I was being taught over the years, but when it came to the point where I wanted to do a little more of my own personal spiritual work, the responsibility came on me as to what I actively choose to learn, what I seek, not just what I say with my mouth, but like what I'm asking for energetically with the vibration that I'm putting out into the universe. And that is another just combination of things. It's a combination of factors that translate into the vibration that I put out, because it does attract. There's no way for me to get around that. It attracts. But now stepping into a place where I'm like, let me take responsibility, take accountability for the vibration I'm putting out and for the energy and the things that it is attracting, then now I say, let me just lay a good foundation. Let me start this root chakra work. Let me determine deliberately the kind of energy that I want to put out based on the things that I want to see in my own life, based on the things I want to see in the life of the people around me. So I say, well, let me just sit down and make that thing happen. And so, again, the beginning of that for me was laying a good meditative practice, which opened the door for me to be introduced to the chakras. And now, beginning with the root chakra, laying a good foundation, addressing a lot of those things, not saying that anything is right or wrong necessarily, but how will I know? The answer to a question that I never asked. How will I know if things are true, if things are right, if if what I am being taught is the right thing? Truth. I used to have an argument with a brother who doesn't really talk to me anymore. Not an argument, but a discussion about truth, and I used to tell him that truth is subjective. Truth exists in the heart of the person that believes, and that's it. There's no separation. And so as I'm laying my foundation, I read a book the other day for the first time in a long time, The Prophet by Khalil Gibran, and in the section on religion, he was asked, well, tell us about religion. And he says, that's basically all I've been talking about this entire time. What man can separate his belief from his actions? Those things bleed into one another. My beliefs play out in my actions. My words may say something, but over time, the real truth will come out. My words may be true, but they may not be. Time reveals all things. And who can take his hours of the day and say, these hours are for God and these hours are for me? No, it's all one big blended thing. So that's where we are. Where we are deliberately seeing the effective and beautiful merging of these worlds of my spiritual life, of my regular day-to-day life. It's one, because I can't separate those hours out. All of those hours go into the same pot. All of my actions are a reflection of what I believe, of what is within me. So, so yesterday I mentioned some things that we could do to kind of get a little bit of connection, to get some momentum going with the root chakra. Yesterday it rained, and Danae and I sat outside in the rain for a little while and talked. And so that was nice. And I felt good. I no longer like run away from the rain, try to cover it. Man, it's a natural thing. It's a part of nature. It is a thing that is necessary for life to continue to be able to exist on Earth. So that's it. So jumping right in, sitting in a position that is comfortable, that I am confident that I will not have to move or shift too much for the next 15 minutes or so. I sit and I breathe deeply in through my nose and out through my mouth, looking straight ahead but unfocused, aware of the space around me. As I breathe in that life-giving breath. And as I exhale, I release all toxins, all negativity, all negative energy. A cycle of renewal. And with the next out breath, I will close my eyes and return my breathing to normal. And as I settle into this space, the physical space, the mental space, the spiritual space, I am aware in 3 dimensions of the space around me. The place where my body is physically sat. And I tune into my physical senses, feeling the weight of my body pressing down against the floor, feeling that contact between my body and the floor. The contact between my hands and my lap, my forearms and my lap. I notice any sounds that may be piercing the silence of the morning. Sounds that, like the breath, come and go in a never-ending cycle. I swirl my tongue around in my mouth and notice the taste. And I notice any scents, aromas, or odors that may be hanging in the air. And taking just a moment, like every morning, to check in with the body into which my spirit has been deposited, the body that I have been entrusted with to live out my days on this earth. Just seeing how it feels today. Starting at the soles of my feet and going up to the crown of my head, I scan slowly but deliberately, noticing as many body parts as I can. Seeing if I feel any points of comfort, of discomfort, of ease or unease, of soreness or aching, of relaxation. But not lingering on any one part, just continuing the scan deliberately up to the top of the head. And now turning the fullness of focus and attention to the breath. A silent observer, watching the body do on its own what it was designed to do. Noticing the place where I feel that rising and falling of the breath in my torso. Is it high in the chest, in the lungs? Do I feel it in the diaphragm? Is it low in the belly? Has it been the same place every day? Do I feel at different places on different days? And as we watch that breath and sink into that space of calm, of meditation, we begin our day with a moment of gratitude, searching our minds for that for which we are thankful today. Thankful though I am for the job that I have that allows me to sustain myself currently, I am glad that it's Friday. I am thankful that after today I'll have a couple of days to, kind of spend as I see fit. So I'm glad to see the end of the work week come today. And I say aloud, thank you. And in an equally deliberate way, setting the tone for my day, putting in front of me thoughts, intentions, and affirmations, preemptively ahead of anything that my mind or body could create by way of thought or feeling throughout the day. I am healthy and strong in body, mind, and spirit. I respect and love my body. I treat it with respect and I feed it that which is best for its optimal functionality. My coming to being into this world was no accident, and I do belong. I am deeply connected with all of nature and humankind. I deliberately cultivate an energy of love and goodness. I take responsibility for my words and actions and for the ripple they create. And now returning the fullness of the focus to that breath, to the rising and falling. Silently and without controlling or directing in any way. Observing the breath. If it helps the focus to count, then count each out-breath, but only up to a count of 5 before starting back at 1. If the mind begins to drift away with thoughts, it's okay. The moment we notice, just resettle that focus on the breath. It's perfectly natural, particularly in the early stages, for the mind to get distracted. So it's all right, just bring the focus back to observing the rising and falling of the breath. And for just a few moments, releasing all focus, just allowing the mind to do and to think about whatever it chooses. And now bringing the attention back to the breath. As we begin to become once again aware of the space around us, of the place where our body is physically situated at this moment. We become aware of the space around us in 3 dimensions and reconnect once again with our physical senses, feeling the body, pressing against the seat, and our hands and arms pressing down on our lap. Becoming once again aware of the sounds that exist in our space. Of any smells that may be lingering, of any tastes in the mouth. And slowly, gently, when we're ready, opening our eyes, but keeping that same unfocused, straight ahead look and retaining our positions for just a moment. And that's that. Another successful morning meditation. I really do enjoy this time It is deeply important to me. But this is only one aspect of the spiritual process. I am healthy and strong, as I say, in body, mind, and spirit. This is the foundational laying of my spiritual practice. But I also feed my mind and my body appropriately. I read every day. Actually, next week, I'd like to integrate some reading time at night. So if I can get all my ducks in a row, I'm going to begin reading books aloud. I talk to people about reading, and I don't have any time. But that's okay. If you can sit and listen, I don't know, if maybe do 20 or 30 minutes at night. I think maybe 15, 20 minutes. Start off, baby steps. I've read, just this year, I've already read 8 books, 7 books. I'm on my 7th book. I read every single day. It is of vital importance to me to feed myself. I read a very deliberate type of material. I don't just read, I read things that contribute to the spiritual direction that I want to go with my life. And with my body, my diet is the same. I'm looking to integrate some cooking and music making into like a little live session as well on Sundays. So I'm hoping I can get some people to join me on that and make that thing happen, where I just kind of cook in the kitchen, have people bring their instruments over, and I cook, make a couple drinks. I'm human too. I like a good cocktail, and I make a mean one. But I don't overindulge in anything. And my diet is very balanced. I have fresh fruits and vegetables every day, and that's what I feed those that are under my care. So look out for those things. Have a wonderful Friday, a great weekend, and I love you, and spread light and love everywhere you go. And good morning, Wanda.